Jasmine Lawrence, it's so good to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so looking forward to this chat with you.
Yeah, same here. I've been really meaning to have an episode like this for quite a while, and it was just a matter of finding the right person to bring on board. And I thought you were such a great guest to have because, you know, you have this entrepreneurial background, you've made this incredible like natural hair care line, and you know, I really wanted to just be able to shed some light on textured hair, what the journey's like for the consumer, what it was like for you as the entrepreneur that created a product line for that consumer, and just kind of talk about all the changing things that are happening in and around this world.
Thank you so much for creating space for this conversation.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure. Okay, so we have so much to talk about. We're going to talk about hair. We're going to talk about tips. We're going to talk about trending things that are happening in the salons. And also we're definitely going to touch on the Crown Act a little bit later. So let's get started with the first part. Let's talk about the greatest challenges women with textured hair are faced with. You know, things that I'm here to learn as much as I possibly can. I'd just love to know, what are challenges that maybe most are not aware of, or, the most kind of relatable challenges.
Yeah, I think some are going to be pretty common and then others are going to be very unique, right? So definitely with textured hair, we're dealing with a lot of hair loss and breakage. We suffer from, like most people suffer from alopecia and lots of different reasons why you might have that breakage. But there is I hate to say it, but a fragility to the hair due to the actual physical structure of it, right? Because it has the kinks and the curves and the coils. Those are all areas where the hair is weaker is maybe not the right language for it, but, has the potential to break, right? And so whenever you're having a joint, there's some sensitivity there. So definitely hair loss and breakage due to manipulation or styling, I should say, is probably the more common term, as what you'll see. And as Black women, we have so many styles. We love to, transform day to night, week after week. And so over manipulating your hair can cause a lot of damage and breakage and even hair loss. You're also seeing increased stress. Stress is a really big driver of hair loss in men and in women. And you see that pressure on Black women who are often single mothers, often taking on big responsibilities, not just for their families, but for their communities. And so you'll definitely see hair loss from stress is a big driver. There's also this fascination with growth. I don't know if this exists for you as well, but we've got this concept of the length check. Have you heard of that?
Length check.
Length check.
Okay.
Yeah, length check. Yes. So length check is depending on where you are in your journey, it's a bit of a flex. When you do a length check, you're okay, look how long my hair has grown. Is it bra strap length? Is it boob length? Is it lower back length? And I'm telling you, when I mean fascination, they're literally t-shirts that women will wear. They'll cut their hair off, or they'll say, okay, my t-shirt. And on the back of the t-shirt, you'll see stripes like a ruler. And people will take a picture in that same t-shirt month after month, year after year, showing you, okay, I'm at 15 inches, I'm at 22 inches, I'm at this long, to show people, because the desire for that long hair or straight hair is still a fascination. And that's where I feel it's a really specific thing in our community, because there's been a lot of pressure, over the years to fit into these Eurocentric standards. And so a length check, having long hair, it's not a brag on, look how healthy my hair is, or look how well I take care of it all the time. It's really just almost the same as saying oh, I wear a size 2, or I wear, I have really small this or really small that. It's really a vanity metric, if I can call it that, that people will flex on. And then lastly, I will say,
and that's
maintenance of your hair.
Sorry, just so I have that clear, that's just relating to your natural hair, right? Just how
yes, exactly. No,
growing. There's nothing in there.
For clarifying. No absolutely. And that's why it's the flex, right? Because it's this is what I was able to achieve, and not everybody, due to the challenges of hair loss, of breakage, of dryness, can actually achieve that. So it's almost a part-time job to care for your hair if you're striving after something like a length check rather than something like a health check, right? So do you have any scalp infections? How many split ends do you have? And people, I mean, are brutal in calling people out. Where are your edges, right? Like these types of conversations can happen in this like stressful environment where the length and the look and the color and the thickness of your hair are all, you know, on display.
And that's all just because like it is such a challenge, right? That it is a I guess a representation of all your hard work and everything that you've put into grooming your hair
Yeah.
and bringing it to that length.
And it can be a struggle for most women, and that's the last challenge I want to bring up is about that day-to-day maintenance, right? There isn't somewhere where you're taught, you know, to do that, because for a lot of the generations before me, there were wigs and weaves and primarily perms, like pressing your hair like with heat, or using a relaxer was just like the go-to. And so there are women who have probably gone their whole lives and never gone through finger detangling their own hair, or even to some extremes, washing their own hair, because it's just not something that they kind of like grew up with a skill set or with the lessons to do. So make that day-to-day maintenance, someone saying, I did this routine and I was able to get to 14 inches. I mean, that's what you'll see all up and down YouTube, people trying to finally embrace and look out for that education to be like, okay, I've decided to start this journey. What do I do? Where do I begin? My mother may not know, my grandmother may not know, my sister may not know, but I want this for me. And you know, whenever you're trying something new, it is stressful and a challenge. But you know, I don't think it has to be. I don't think it has to be.
You know, I think that's amazing because I think every consumer right now is just that much more kind of discerning about their looks, the products they use. Like everyone is really putting in more effort than our previous generations, right? Like becoming your own expert, like seeking the knowledge that you know is out there, but you're trying to just gain access to.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And information being as accessible as it is, that it's not just this tribal knowledge, right, in a specific community, but that, you know, you can learn lessons from people all around the world, and, you know, and easily search it and bookmark it and save it. Like I have a YouTube playlist of natural hairstyles tutorials to remind myself. And I have a whole you can check it out on Instagram or on my website, a whole hair diary to remind me of like, oh yeah, I really like that style. Or, hey, could you do this again? Could you make me look like the way I used to look, rather than just having, you know, a magazine full of, literally there are hairstyle magazines that you would see at a salon and you'd say, okay, make me look like her, or cut my hair like this, or braid my hair like this.
Right.
You know, we are so much more on display.
Hair like hers.
Exactly. Legit hair like hers.
I mean, and that's just so unrealistic, right? To like point something out and want it. It's there, you know, I mean, it's not everything who you are, what you are naturally and all that.
It can be a challenge. I mean, sometimes it can be aspirational, which isn't too bad. But then, you know, in some cases it's like, yeah, it really is inspirational and aspirational. Like you really have to strive to that. And that's when, you know, maybe to transition to our other conversation, that's when you see the use of extensions or you know, weaves and things like that, helping people achieve those styles that they haven't naturally put in the naturally, like having the hair to style in that way, or achieving styles, you know, with those extensions.
So you have these gorgeous, you know, extension braids.
Yes, wave length box braids, knotless box braids. Yeah,
knotless box braids, and it looks so great. I love that on you. How do you typically wear your hair, and do you change it around a lot?
I do. I probably change my hair every other week, but you know, I have a hair brand, and so I'm always trying new formulations, trying, you know, different tools and techniques. So I probably change my hair a bit more than the average woman does. But yeah, I wear my hair a lot in braids. It's called a protective style. It lets me reduce the amount of manipulation of my hair. So my coils, my curls are, you know, pretty much still. And my goal with these braids is to keep them moisturized and to reduce any friction on my hair. So at night I'll wear like a scarf or a bonnet to reduce any friction while I'm sleeping. And, you know, every morning and on the evening as well, I will moisturize my scalp and I'll moisturize my hair that is integrated into these braids as well. When I'm not in braids, I'm wearing 2-strand twists, where, you know, you just separate your hair into 2 like sections, and then you wrap them around each other with some type of styling cream or gel, whatever works for you, and then let my hair air dry like that. I love that style because it's a really good, another style that's like, there's a lot of manipulation to achieve the style, but after that, it's really just wake up, moisture, maybe add some steam to give it some body, and call it a day. I mean, I could rock that style for a good 2 weeks and just be done with it.
You know, it's funny, like you don't realize how, because any kind of hair addition, any kind of extension that has like tension and that is worn for a longer period of time is associated with obviously having negative effects on the hair. But it's amazing how I really never looked at it as a protective style, how it does protect your strands because it's woven in and protected from, like you said, friction and the elements and you know, so
but I
your hair
you're spot on that there are drawbacks, right? So there are lots of people who will put in these braids and then say, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to take care of my hair anymore. And that is so not true. We see people leaving in weaves for months and months at a time and then having infections at the root, or, you know, the hair coming out with the extensions as well. And then when we talk about the quality of the extensions, you know, some people use kind of synthetic or plastic hair. Some people will use very expensive premium human hair. And when your hair combines with these false strands or even other human hair, I mean, you could really be like literally cutting the shaft of your hair due to the tension of your hair being up against these like more firm and rougher strands. So there are trade-offs.
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about sewing in and gluing, right? That is just a whole nother level of.
I mean, I guess it's just like anything, like it can just get, you know, people will like abuse it. I mean, I used to do the single strand extension additions, the great lengths on my clients. And when you took care of it and you took them out when you're supposed to take them out, you have no damage or tension on the hair. But it was those who had chosen to keep them in a little bit longer and make the most out of it. And then they'd come back with like rows of breakage.
Yeah, you got to ask the question though, like why? You know, what causes you to go like, oh, I want to leave this in for one more week, right? It's the time and, like you said, the time and effort that we put in to get there, right? Like maybe she was in your chair for an hour or so and she's like, okay, I really got to make this last. I really want to, and you know, these hair can cost upwards of $200-300 to put in. So it's an investment. I don't have $300 to be thrown away every month, you know, so that's why I have to alternate between styles that don't involve extensions to let my hair breathe, to give it a break and my wallet a break as well.
Right. Change it up. Okay. Well, since we're on the topic of extensions, let's talk about the right and wrong ways of wearing them. What are some like right off the bat kind of things, you know, everybody should be aware of, common mistakes?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say a number one mistake with weaves is going to be not paying attention to the tension when they're installed, right? That tension on your scalp. I've seen people ripping out their edges, people who have these tension bumps all around their edges due to not wanting to let the stylist know that they're in physical pain, because there's that mantra that beauty is pain. Absolutely not. You don't want to be putting that stress on your scalp. That's one of the, I want to say it's one of the drivers of these knotless braids, because there's less tension on my scalp because it's actually integrated a little lower on my hair shaft, rather than them having to pull my hair super tight to hide where my real hair is starting and like really do this little knot to have it flush against my scalp. Definitely as a kid, you know, I'm not tender-headed. I don't have like pressure sensitivity on my scalp, but some people do. And this repeated tension and pulling and stress can exacerbate that. I would say that's the number one. The number two for
stylist. Sorry, is that the stylist's like responsibility, or you know, the customer's responsibility?
I think it's mutual. I think when somebody is doing your hair, you're in a relationship. Think about a massage therapist. They're going to start with a standard level of pressure, but everybody is different. And so it's up to you to say, hey, a little bit more or a little bit less. But some people just get in the chair and they know, hey, the tighter it is, the cleaner it's going to look, the longer it's going to last. I want that. And the trade-offs just aren't worth it. Like you said, the detriments of wearing the weaves over and over and over again are just going to leave you with lower and lower quality hair, which is going to have you be even more reliant on weaves to achieve your goal. And so I'm not anti-weave at all.
Right.
But so I'm glad that we're having this conversation about what to avoid so that you can leverage them as a protective style and as an addition, or just as a creative tool to express yourself without harming yourself.
Right. Okay. What else? What do you have next?
Yeah. So taking care of the hair beneath the weave. Like, so for me, it's a lot about moisturizing to make sure my hair isn't just dry and brittle when this comes out. So like for me, because of the braids, like I'm just not gonna like get in a pool and like douse my hair in the braids, because the chlorine and all the chemicals and things like that are going to soak into the hair. And then if I wash this hair, my hair will frizz up underneath the braids and make them look less natural, like less integrated. So for me, it's like, okay, what alternatives can I have to keep my scalp clean and healthy in between washes, right? Because maybe I don't want to wash the whole thing. So there are some people who will like lift up their braids. Sorry, we're like really getting into it today. Like no holding back.
We're here to
they
get
will,
it.
like lift up. They'll lift up their braids and they will just like use like a pre-mixed kind of water and shampoo on their scalp and make sure their scalp is clean, right? Or maybe like a mist with like an apple cider vinegar or tea tree oil or peppermint oil, like some type of antifungal to remove bacteria, right? I've even gone in with like I have like plain wipes, not like a baby wipe that has like all types of things on it, but like a plain wipe, and like even gone through on my parts and on my scalp, right? You know, with something to clean it, right? So because I recognize that like it's still my hair underneath here, and I don't want anything bad to happen there. So making sure that you're moisturizing, that you're cleaning, that you're thinking about how long your braids have been in is really important. And then the last one, if I can talk about challenges with extension, is the takedown, right? The removal of them, how rough people can be with their hair in both like just like when they're taking the braids out. So when we were talking about maybe glues and sew-ins and things like that, even crochet braids are actually the simplest that I've seen recently, like innovations in being able to integrate hair in a like least damaging way. If you're not familiar with crochet, someone will do something like cornrows on your hair, and then they'll actually like using like a loop and a string, like hook the hair around the cornrows so that you really just honestly just pull them off. It's really simple. Whereas with these braids, I'd likely have to like cut the ends, if I can remember how long my actual hair is, cut it, and then unbraid each individual strip. There's no way around it, honestly. And so, yeah, people will rip their hair. There'll be knots like in the root of the braid. Sometimes you'll have a lot of product buildup or skin buildup or whatever it happens to be, lint even. And that knot can be, oh my gosh, it can be matted, if I'm honest with you, like almost locked, like matted like a lock would be. And people will just like honestly rip it out and lose hair.
And just like pull on it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there are so many techniques and tactics that people have come up with, soften it with a shampoo or soften it with an apple cider vinegar or something like that to loosen up, break up the dirt before you go in there with a tool. Or actually, I try to avoid using tools at all and just really using my hands so I can really, sense the tension, sense what the knots are in there. So the takedown can be something that you might want to go to a professional too. I mean, they're doing the install. Until you've learned, or at least learn from the professional what techniques that they're using, and if that's a suitable way to manage it for yourself at home.
Again, I mean, that's up to the client and the hairstylist to, figure out the best method for removal.
Yeah, I mean, if I can ask you a question, like, how are you talking to your clients, let's specifically with extension, on what that journey is going to be like from the install to the daily maintenance to that takedown?
Yeah, so I don't do the extensions anymore, but it was a real conversation. It was like, okay, firstly, this is how long they're supposed to stay in. This is how soon you can take them out. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, it's the, brushing the roots every day with the right kind of tool that will prevent them from matting at the root with the new hair growth coming in. Yep. And then of course, tying it when you're going to bed so that there's no extra friction, because these additions wouldn't be, they're just like loose hair. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, people would have damaged hair. Their hair would naturally be more damaged, and it was like very short. Obviously, that's why they couldn't grow it to their desired length. They put in this extension hair, which is like phenomenal quality. And those two qualities, even just like you'd mentioned, the synthetic and the real hair, even real hair and real hair will tangle. And then, just washing it really gently and not roughening up your hair in the shower and blot drying. I mean, it's like really, it's very high maintenance.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just really that learning experience of, okay, I'm accepting all these responsibilities by having my hair be this way. Not everybody can just get in the shower, wash and let it air dry.
No.
But yeah.
So, and here's the thing, like I wanted to talk about the journey of weaning off extensions, but I hate to put the focus on like everybody needs to wean off the extensions, because that's wrong. But like, I just want to talk about, when you're doing extensions and braids from like a very young age, through your entire life. And then there is the right way and the wrong way of doing it. Like, what are your thoughts on, what maybe is the best practice with extensions? Should it just not be should you be switching in and out, wearing it naturally and putting them in? Like, what do we do? Or what if somebody has been so dependent on extensions and is looking to embrace their natural hair? How would you describe that process?
That's a good question. I highly recommend alternating, letting your hair breathe, right? Is really, really important. I mean, we take our clothes off every day to shower, to let our skin breathe, right? You don't want to be wearing the same thing that's not letting even your fingernails, right? You cannot be having nail polish every single week all year round. No, you have to let your nails breathe. Like your hair is dead, right?
I never let mine breathe. I never
gotta let them breathe. Give them a break. I mean, the
same thing, right? It's like I don't want to deal with the natural nail, which my nails they're just a pain. And like, I don't want to deal with the natural nail itself. So I keep putting the gel back on.
And that is what is probably making them more brittle and
absolutely
making them easy to break, which is why you feel like you need. So it's a real like vicious cycle, as self-fulfilling prophecy of the damage, because we don't give it that time to break. And then even let's say if putting in extensions is work, you need to go on vacation. Just need to give your hair a little vacation, right? Let it be. I think there's a lot of self-discovery that we have during these vacations where we have to be real with ourselves and check in on the actual health of the hair beneath it before we choose the next step, whether it's going to be keeping it out or choosing the next extension. Maybe it's time, maybe you're seeing thinning in your edges and breakage, and you're ready to, you've developed the courage to talk to your stylist about less tension, or, what are styles like maybe crochet that might be a better fit for me, in terms of reducing that. But yeah, I would highly recommend alternating. But I really like your question of exploring, right? A lot of women who have had relaxers, right, the chemical process for straightening your hair, will go through this experience called the big chop. And it is a moment where you either cut off all of your hair or cut off all of your relaxed hair, and you just have your natural hair as it grows out of your head with all of its textures. And like, honestly, there are multiple textures around your scalp, right? Like my hair is a little looser in the front and in the back, and very, very dense on the top. Yeah.
So like,
I see the different waves.
The back, it's just like weird and kinky. I didn't blow dry, but like, look at that. And then the top will dry. I mean, I blow dried the top of my hair right now, but the top will not dry anything like that. So I feel I get that. So all these
so the textures are all over, and you're just figuring it out, right? I would say the first thing is just like trying to find a routine that works for you, similar to what you would do with your skincare or your facial care. What are the products that allow you to clean your hair, moisturize your hair, manage any concerns that you're dealing with. It could be dandruff, it could be itchy scalp. Definitely, like, products are a great aid, but then you also have to start thinking about your lifestyle, right? Because hydration starts from, what the water that you're consuming, right? If your hair doesn't have that, right? Do you have enough protein in your diet? Because that's, what our hairs are made out of. Are you eating enough vegetables, vitamins, like all of these different things? It's an inside out and outside in approach to really taking care of yourself. And then you'll see those results in your hair, in your nail, in your energy, and even in just like how your body moves. This is what I really love about my natural hair, is how much it has challenged me to look within and to prioritize myself and learn to take care of that. Now, I would say not everybody has the luxury to, take care of their hair as an act of self-care, as an act of, like, let's say, vacation, right? That's not everybody's lifestyle, and I want to acknowledge that. But I would say that journey is really about kind of getting in touch with and the way that you're taking care of your body, and finding what works for you, and also not getting caught up in, like it said, trying to have hair like hers, right? If I have very short, tiny kinky hair, and if I want hair down to my butt, there's absolutely a way to achieve that via extensions or through a rigorous journey of learning what helps your hair grow, right? Reducing manipulation, making sure that it's moisturized. Like, it is an intentional process. But I'd love for you to love and embrace yourself at whatever length and whatever texture you have, because that's who you are.
That is such a great message, right? Because it's like you said, I mean, wearing the shirt and showing off your new length, like your length checking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just goes to show that the goal is long hair, but it's not always realistic or attainable. And, sometimes people will hang on to their hair for dear life just so that they can have the length that they want. But it's like really unhealthy damage hands, right? Like, that doesn't look good either. Right. Healthy hair is a sign of youth and a sign of health. So yeah,
that's so true. Oh man, I was definitely like that as a kid. I was like, no, don't trim it. Just give me a little dusting, just a little, oh, I want to touch my shoulder. Like, no, I'm just like, now I go in and I was like, if it's not healthy, get rid of it. I don't want to hang on to that baggage. And having that, I'm telling you, having that mentality with my hair has transformed my life. I'm not just going to hold on to things because they make me feel good or make me seem a certain way. If they're not good for me, if they're not serving me, I gotta let it go. Even if I have that awkward, weird, lame, you gotta let it go.
That's right. Oh my gosh, that's so much more powerful. Okay, so let's get into the tips for managing curly, frizzy, textured hair. I had somebody that had a question for us.
And please.
Yeah. So this was actually from my Brittany, my social media manager, who had so many questions for you. She wanted me to ask you, what do you think about the new no product movement for natural textured hair? Are you for or against putting products in textured hair, and why? Obviously you're for, because you have a line yourself, which, we'll talk about products in a bit, but yeah, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I'm for products, but I can understand the motivations behind no products. My mom actually locked her hair, I want to say 10 years ago, and she uses very, very minimal product because it's very hard to remove it from inside the locks, which will add to the weight of the hair and, just having more things inside of it. And so she's very, very particular about using, honestly, anything, right? Because what goes in is like officially a part of you. I think it's just like a harkening back to nature, right? Water is a really effective cleanser. You don't always need to use something like a shampoo, or harsh shampoos that are really out there. For me, I transition between shampoo and more of a conditioning wash, and even the volume of product that I'll use will alternate based on like really how I'm feeling in terms of the level of clean that I'm getting. But as long as you're being conscious about kind of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and like what your motivation is, I think it can be helpful. I definitely can't say like, don't like, don't use product, right? When I think about it, when I'm thinking about like kind of brushing your teeth, there are fluoride-free toothpastes that are out there, and like what you're actually like doing with the toothbrushes most of the time is like you're just removing the bacteria from the surface of your teeth. You don't actually need the toothpaste to do that. You can do that with a brush, right? But that gel actually clings to it and grabs the dirt and things like that. And so shampoo is kind of like a similar way on your hair, where your like fingers will be your brush. But then, you know, there is fluoride, and it is helpful. We've discovered that there are benefits that it brings to your teeth in terms of strengthening them. But some people don't want the additional fluoride in their body. It's not good for them. They're not interested in that. And so they can choose to not have that option, to not use toothpaste altogether. So that's kind of how I feel about the no product movement. When I make products, we're very intentional about the ingredients and the values that they're bringing you. And we try and communicate and educate people so that they can make that informed decision. We have a huge line that's about coconut, but a lot of people are sensitive to nut oils and coconut and things like that. So we try and provide alternatives based on what you want to put in your body. So it's a personal choice, but there definitely are, you know, benefits to using products that are formulated well.
Agreed. What can individuals with textured hair do to combat shrinkage?
Ooh.
And what is shrinkage? You can define that.
Okay. Yeah. So shrinkage.
Is it a good question?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a real thing. The shrinkage is real. Okay. So when my hair is pressed, right? Like maybe straightened with heat or with tension, whatever it happens to be, my hair could like be as long as yours, let's say, right, in its dry state. But when I get into the shower, my hair could literally go from being down to my boobs to being up to my ears, right? And I would love to watch, I don't know if there's a video you can include, but there's likely videos where people will show you like, I'm going to wet my hair in the shower and you can see it just like shrink and curl up. That's actually so great. Shrinkage is such a good sign of healthy hair. It's absorbing the water. Like you don't want to like wet your hair that's supposed to be curly and it do nothing, right? That's a sign of heat damage. That's like protein loss.
Right.
Yeah. So like, let's not say combat shrinkage. If you want to like minimize the amount of shrinkage, yeah, that is tough. You probably want something that's going to repel the water. So you probably want to like coat with oil first, if for some reason you're wetting your hair and using oil. But yeah, stretching your hair is what we call it, or at least what I call it. There are lots of hairstyles that will stretch your hair, like two-strand or three-strand flat twist is a really great way to stretch your hair, and it's a really easy thing to learn. I use big fat two-strand twists that I'll pull into a bonnet or a ponytail, and so it will just like stretch out the hair but it does take longer to dry in that sense. But yeah, I don't think shrinkage is a thing that you combat. I think shrinkage is a sign of pride. It just shows the flexibility of your hair.
That is so true. It is a sign
nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, that is a really good way of looking at it. Right, that it's healthy hair, that it has a solid porosity. It's able to retain the water.
Exactly, it's very good. But if you're like, let's say you live in Atlanta and you're like worried about humidity, I would definitely say you want to seal in the moisture that you have with like an oil or something like that to prevent the conversion, or to try and prevent the conversion. Yeah, or get some braids.
Right. Yeah. Do you have any tips for? Actually, here's another question I have from Instagram. Please. What's the best way to keep long-lasting definition in wavy hair?
Ooh, okay.
I mean, this is probably going to get us into product, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely product is helpful. Product is helpful, but there are certain things I learned. So for example, when I do my two-strand twists, this is how I achieve a definition that is different from my natural curl pattern, right? So my natural curl pattern, let's say, is like maybe like a 2 centimeter in diameter curl for like an individual strand of hair. I'll take like a bit, like this much hair, and I will literally look at a two-strand twist on your podcast. Look like this, but because my hair is like coily and they like kind of hug each other, it will stay twisted. This hair is just going to untwist and it's going to be nothing. Right. But they'll twist together, and then due to the product it will be like essentially molded in the pattern that I twisted it in curled in the direction that I twisted it in. And so when I let that dry, when I let it set, like you would like any kind of like gel or styling cream, when I take that out, I'll have coils that are, you know, maybe, I don't know, 2 centimeters in diameter, or however big the twists were. And so when I take them out, like I mentioned before, I will coat my fingertips in oil, right? And I will just separate the 2 strands. Like I will untwist these 2 strands, and then these 2 strands will have like a specific curl pattern. Now that is like the peak definition that is ever going to exist. But when you have that peak definition, I really wish I could like take photos of you of like this process. That's the peak definition, but you have no volume. And so, some of the techniques are like, you take like a pick or something and you like fluff the roots, right? Giving it more volume from the base. And then for me, I have to selectively go quadrant by quadrant and like separate some of those coils to have more volume. But the trade-off for definition is volume. So I would say when I coat my hair with the oil, it stops the loosened hair or the like separated hair from frizzing up and not looking like, and going back to the smaller coils rather than the coils that I worked so hard by hand to define. Another tip for sleeping is like my hair is basically, volume is like air between your hair, right? And so if I lay directly on these coils, they will flatten and they will mold into whatever I was lying on. And so a really, really great technique is called pineappling, where you take your coils like from the base of your root, either using a hair tie, or some people like me, I will take a scarf and put it around, and I will like add tension, slide it up, add tension, slide it up. And so there's like less, the hair is like kind of pressed up against itself. And then I can sleep on like the underside of my hair essentially. And then in the morning, I'll take that scarf out. My hair might still be a little Frankenstein, a little up, but it's coated in oil. So I will actually run the shower and have the steam relax my hair, soften my cuticles, and let it fall back down without ever touching the curls by hand, which maintains the definition, and the oil stops the shrinkage and stops like the product from, from kind of fading off. Yeah.
So you would get in the shower and just like let the steam hit your hair? Or
no? I'd
bathroom steam up.
Yeah, I let the bathroom steam up, because some people have handheld hair steamers that like create steam that is not like that's not gonna scald you. For me, like I have a watertight giant what am I saying? Shower cap. And like I'll take a quick shower and like, this is very wasteful and American, but like let the water run and like let the room fill with steam. And then I'll take off my scarf and my whatever and like honestly just like exist in that space. Maybe I'll brush my teeth or moisturize my face during that time to let it absorb kind of that water and soften the hair so that it goes kind of back down to the shoulders.
That is so cool. And that makes perfect sense. Man.
Yep. It works.
I mean, works. Yeah. I'm not going to act like I haven't let my shower run for steam to remove wrinkles from a shirt.
Yes, right. Well, exactly.
I don't have time to steam it. I'll just hang it, and the bathroom's like all steamy. And next thing I look over, the thing's like completely smoothed out.
It's a great analogy. It's the same with the hair, right? It just lets it relax, but the product is still there. The oil is still there, kind of maintaining the shape, and so it'll go down. The last thing that people do is like they will twist their loosened hair, just as a way to prevent the curls from being smashed. But yeah.
So when you were doing your 2-strand twist for that like defined kind of curl, were you doing it wet? This is out the shower.
I have done both. I've done dry and I've done wet, and I prefer wet. There's a LCO method and an LOC method. It's like a liquid cream oil or liquid oil cream. People have different preferences. I'm definitely an LCO type of person. I like to put my oil on top to seal in my moisture. So the liquid for me would be water. So go in the shower, water, and then I'll use something like our hair and body butter or our curl defining cream, right, to seal in that moisture from the water, to add the definition, the nutrients, things like that. And then I'll seal it with oil so that it doesn't come out, so that excess water isn't coming in, like avoiding shrinkage and all of that. And that's like the order of product that I use to achieve that on wet hair.
Okay, let's get into your product line because I like cannot wait to
Yeah.
start talking about your products and get to know more about them. Give us a little bit of a background on the products themselves, and let's start talking about your faves and what people should know about.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thanks again for the opportunity. So, if you haven't known, I'm Jasmine. Oh, I guess it's over here. Founder of Eden Body Works. We make natural hair and body care products. And so for me, I would say what really sets us apart is our focus on the formulation, on the ingredients, and the value that they bring to you. We love prioritizing education, both in our marketing and just the conversations that we have, and helping people understand, how do I map a concern that I might have with my hair, such as itching and breakage and things like that, with a natural ingredient that can help, whether it's tea tree or aloe or coconut or papaya or almonds and marshmallows and jojoba oil and castor oil. I mean, we have such a diverse set of combinations of products for you. And our goal is to help you understand and assess, okay, what is my lifestyle and kind of what do I need to be equipped with to support that? So in addition to the product development, we're really, really invested in supporting and elevating other Black and women-owned businesses. So you'll see us doing partnerships all the time in the community, either co-branding or co-sponsoring with different groups, or engaging, trying to help Black women engage in different activities. So we've worked with Travel Noir to encourage women to travel solo, or we've worked with writers, right, who write children's books about loving your hair, right? And we gave those books away with our kids line to start having these conversations early about your identity and embracing who you are, so that you're not stuck kind of just dreaming of these aspirational standards, or just saying like, hey, when it rains, everybody else is like happy to be outside. But for me, I'm thinking, oh no, I don't want to go outside. Shrinkage, is that bad? Like you said, oh, is this something I need to fight or combat? Absolutely not. Something you can, mitigate or accept about yourself. So we really love kind of pairing our products with a mission.
I love that. And it's and also just on that, it's like something that more people need to be educated on, so everybody understands what shrinkage is and why it's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. I saw this really, really funny video where these kids were kind of at a swimming class, and the professor takes, like a cup of water, trying to get them used to the temperature of the water. And, it's like, a little white boy, not a problem. Little Black boy, not a problem. And then the little Black girl who had her hair done, kind of just in a ponytail, got up and walked away before the teacher even got to her with the water, because she was like, I'm not letting that happen. These are like 3-4-year-old kids. Yeah. And why would the teacher know? Like, she's trying to avoid, because she's probably thinking about all of the, hours that's going to take for her mom to wash and dry, maybe press or whatever her hair for school the next day or for an appointment. And she's probably already conditioned in that way. So we'd love to come alongside that swimmer and say, hey, don't worry, our peppermint tea tree line, we'll clean it, we'll help you detangle, you'll feel great about it, your hair will be easy to manage, and you won't have to be stressed when you think about having to do your hair as a girl with curly hair.
What is let's talk about some of your favorite products in the line, most commonly used ones.
Yeah, we're definitely known for our coconut shake collection. It is just like, I would say it's a staple in the community, if I can be so bold. 2 products from that line that are really popular are our Curl Define Cream. Like I said, I rock a lot of 2 Strand Twists. It's the hairstyle that I learned to do when I was younger. And it's a really great protective style. So people use that to achieve all types of defined looks. And the other one is our.
Sorry, just so I understand, will that keep the hair actually will keep the twist in there? Is it like a substantial enough type of cream?
Yeah, it's like a medium hold. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, medium hold. So it'll not just provide moisture, but it will also define it. It will prevent frizz. It's gonna penetrate deeply in there, and you have that coconut oil that's going to help reduce the breakage and prevent protein loss. And then it's that shea butter that helps really soften your hair, reduce that scalp irritation. And both of these are good whether your hair is natural or even color treated. So it's not something that's going to kind of strip out your color while you're doing your styling. So it's such a great line. And then the other product in that line is our edge control gel. People love. It's very, very in vogue to have your edges laid or even styled. And so kind of like a pomade that you would use primarily on your edges to get those really sleek looks. Yeah. So those are two pretty popular ones. I have to call out our new Lavender Aloe collection, which just launched October 1st, that we're super, super proud of.
That sounds extremely nourishing for the scalp.
Yes, absolutely. This is gonna like prevent bacteria and fungi from growing. Aloe contains all these like really rich vitamins and also helps with your itchy scalp. Like, but what I really love about this line is that we're having this conversation, and which is why I'm excited to be on your podcast about reimagining wash day as not a burden, as not a chore. Like having textured hair is not an issue, right? This is your lot in life. Let's reimagine it as a spa day, as this luxurious day that is for you, right? Get a babysitter, take the time off and just be there for yourself. And I love, creating something that lets you feel indulgent in that moment, but is also really good for you.
I'm all on board with that. Like, right? It's not a chore. It's actually such a pleasant experience when you're doing it right. I love taking a shower. I love washing my hair.
Me too.
It's just like, you have the good stuff and you got like your scalp scrubber or your scalp massager and like all the tools and you can bring into the shower with you.
Do love a waterproof scalp massager. I will, increasing my blood flow to your hair, to your body. It's great. The warmth, opening up your pores. Like, I feel like I can wash my face at the sink. It's so different from washing my face in the shower. Just like pores open. I'm relaxed. I'm feeling everything. Yeah, the music. I don't know. Do you do shower music?
Girl, the shower is like a sacred moment. Okay, obviously the both of us spend a little bit too much time in there. I can already tell.
Probably, yeah.
Shameless.
I'm not drinking water. I'm standing in it.
Right. Oh my God, I love it. That's so good. Okay, fabulous. And okay, let's get on. We have like a couple of things I want to hit on before we're done here. So, let's talk about relaxers real quick.
Okay.
What's the latest? Are they still being done? What are your thoughts around them?
Yeah, people are still doing them. And there are, still the same challenges. For me, I actually lost my hair due to a relaxer that wasn't done well. There's so many, like, it's a chemical process. You have to use gloves. You have to use like these protective like steps, things like that. So it's still being done. I would say if you're getting relaxers, I know they like make them in a box to get them done. Like you can do them at home, but it's a chemical process that I would highly recommend like going to a professional with, and even having a professional assess the health of your hair and whether or not you want to keep using it. There are lots of studies linking the use of these chemicals to cancers and other just negative things. And so, but again, it's a personal choice. There's chemicals in some of the processed foods that we eat and some of the products that we put on our hair and skin. And we make those trade-offs every day. But yeah, people are still doing it. But I definitely think that over the last decade, you've seen a transition away from them into alternatives like extensions or weaves, or into people embracing their natural hair. Because like you mentioned before, the information is out there. The support is out there. The communities now exist online where you can have that support that you need. And even we didn't get to talk too much about this, the salon experience is becoming more supportive of not just, are you here to get your hair straightened or relaxed or whatever, but it's like, hey, I can actually do natural styles, or I can actually do, simple braids and things like that, or even like really cool cuts or even locks. So many people are locking their hair, which is very, very cool. So there are more alternatives to relaxers, and I definitely see it decreasing.
I mean, like, I'm just thinking about like the keratin hair smoothing treatments, right? We like apply them off the scalp so that the chemical doesn't directly hit your scalp. And also it's just not a good idea to let the, freshly grown hair just get, covered in chemicals. Would some relaxers also be applied off scalp? Or are they, for the most part, directly on the scalp?
It's primarily on the scalp because another vocabulary word, that's where the new growth is. Right. That's where the new kinky hair is, right? There's not like, your hair is not going back after it's been relaxed. So it's like, very rare that you see people applying it to the whole strand. Once you've had your initial like relaxer treatment, after that, it's like however long you wait. Is it an inch? Is it a half
Oh,
inch?
wow.
A quarter inch that you just can't even tolerate?
Got
There
it.
are
Oh,
people who are just like,
it's like a root color application, like you're coloring your roots.
exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you're in, you're
That's
kind of
it.
stuck. And the only way to go back to that kinky hair is to either grow it out and be in this phase, we call it transitioning, where, some of your hair is relaxed and some of your hair is natural. And you'll likely, this is the stress of it. You might not be applying more chemicals, but you're using things like heat to make your unrelaxed hair match the texture of your relaxed hair until it grows out to a length you're comfortable with, which is what leads a lot of people to just saying, screw that. I'm going to big chop. I'm going to start from zero. Yeah. It's a freeing moment to break that cycle, to break that relaxer cycle. It really is.
Imagine. Yeah. Cause you're so like hooked otherwise. You're so dependent on that.
Yeah. Imagine if you were like, I'm done with this hair color.
Yeah. What?
But
No, like
you can't just overtone it. You just like, what if there was literally no going back? There's like, oh, this is a one-way process. The only way to lose this color is if you shave it all off. Would you let your hair grow out without color for how long? Or would you big chop?
Ooh, yeah. Big decisions.
Yeah.
They're both hard.
Yeah. I mean, people will see you differently based on your hair. And that's honestly what the Crown Act is about.
Yes. Let's get into that. Let's talk about the Crown Act. Tell us everything about it. What is it? When was it enacted? And why it's so important.
Yeah, definitely read up more about it. It stands for Create a Respectful and Open Workplace for Natural Hair. And the Crown Act is an anti-discrimination law, similar to let's say something like Title IX, right? Which requires you to treat male and female athletes the same, right? Because kids are being sent home from school. People are, being denied job opportunities because they have hair that other people deem unprofessional. So California, which is the state that I live in, was the first state to pass it. And there's just a whole community around advocating this to be important for the whole country, but state, a lot of the laws are passed state by state. So you're seeing where there are large collections of community of color, people rallying around passing legislation like this to prevent it, right? So that people can have a legal background for saying, hey, I can have cornrows and still work on Wall Street, right? I don't have to, shave my hair flat, or I can have locks and still be a teacher, or I can wear my afro and it's not a costume. It's not, a distraction. I mean, yeah, people are going to try and touch it because they're just unfamiliar and they're curious and sometimes don't understand like personal boundaries or respect in that way. But my opportunities shouldn't be limited because I don't fit into a bubble for you. So I think it was 2018 or 2019 that it was passed, and it just sucks that it has to go that far. Do you know what I mean? But we already have laws that protect you based on your sex, your gender, your sexual orientation, your race, your national origin, your veteran status. Like these are things about you that in a lot of cases you can't change, right? But your hair, it feels like, even with the military, there are literally documents that exist that say these are the 3 approved hairstyles for being in the military. And I'm like, how does the way that my hair is done change my commitment to serving my country or change my ability to do this job, right? In some cases, I get it. If you're working around machines, sure, I can put it in a ponytail because there's a safety hazard there, right? But in a lot of cases, it's like we aren't working around dangerous equipment. We aren't in these circumstances where our hair influences what we do at all. And yet it's still being a factor that we're seeing discrimination around. So would love to see the Crown Act passed nationally to give people with natural hair or just honestly any type of hair, because colored hair is also discriminated against. I saw one of my favorite YouTubers did a partnership with Sally's where she said like having colored hair doesn't make you unprofessional, because it doesn't. It really doesn't. So I love seeing the Crown Act really be kind of, definitely the challenge is a lot in the Black community, but even being able to transcend that and let people who want to express themselves using their hair have the freedom to do that without the detriment of other people's judgment impacting their ability to succeed at work.
Yeah, you're right. It's just like every other, kind of discrimination that's out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't really think about it. But have you noticed that it's actually had like a positive effect so far? Are you
Um,
seeing the change? Are,
for me,
employers aware? Like, because at the end of the day, they need to understand like
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
what's been
California is like super serious about laws, and I think now that I think more people need to be aware that this is something that like that they can speak up about, right? Because when you have social norms, it is hard to get yourself out of the muscle of, well, this is how it is, this is how it's always been, and for someone to say, hey, that's not okay, that's not okay anymore. I think that's still going to take time for people to embrace, and I think I have a different perspective since I already hit my lowest low before I started working, right? Because as a kid I was a pageant girl and was very caught up in my looks, and so over the years I just learned to embrace it, learn to own it, learn to be who I'm going to be. And if I have been discriminated against, I just see it as I don't want to work there. But it could be a great career move for me. It could be a great place, the only company doing the thing that I'm interested in doing, and now I can't work there because my hair, like, that's insane. So I like that people have this option for defending themselves, but it's just like the cultural shift has to happen, and they have to feel confident enough to really say, I think you're discriminating against me, or make the case where if this really is the only issue, like this is not allowed, not here.
right. I love that. That's like an incredible support so many people can use. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are some great changes happening.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I really do love it. I really appreciate the opportunity to really speak up about some of these things, and hopefully educate the people who listen to your podcast and watch your channel about how different our experiences of life are. We have so much in common. We all care about the way we look, want to present ourselves in the best light.
Absolutely.
And differences in our experiences, they're there, and so you really never know what someone else is going through in life. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is such great awareness. Like everybody should recognize what others go through. I think it's just, it completes the whole human experience. Not just being aware of your own struggles, but of others.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
All right, my dear. Well, listen, this was incredible. I feel like there was so much more we could talk about. We could keep going, but I think we got a good amount in.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I feel just so free and relaxed and chatting with you. I feel like we got to touch on a lot of things. I hope we get feedback from your audience and other perspectives on what works for them. I got to share a lot of my personal perspectives. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for sharing everything and for coming on here. And I can't wait for everybody to hear this. I'm honestly just like having a moment right now, right? Because I grew up in the hair world. Like I've been in the hair world my whole life, but you really don't recognize how everyone's hair experience is so unique, and that we think like some people have it so easy with their hair, but there's beauty in all hair types, and it's a matter of embracing that.
Yes.
And your maintenance is easy also, right? But it helps having some good products, some good natural products, having some techniques up your sleeves, and then also
community.
And other people understanding what's going on and what it actually takes to have the kind of hair that you have, and why it looks the way it does, and why you style it the way that you do.
Yeah.
It's such a big conversation, and there's nothing more important than our hair. Come on.
If I haven't already, it connects to so many areas of my life, the way that I treat myself, value myself, think about my life. It's been a really, really helpful tool for me. So I do think that starting with taking care and understanding your hair will transform the way that you treat your body, and then connect with other people.
Really quick before we go, where is Eden Body Works headed? What's the future looking like for your brand?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're currently in the middle of international expansion. So there are not just curly girls in the US, but they're all around the world. They're in Switzerland, they're in Australia, they're in Paris. And so, these are just some of the places that you can find the product through, all the distributors that we're reaching out to and partnering with, and also trying to connect the diaspora of natural hair care communities, right? Sharing those struggles, sharing those tips. Like maybe they do something different for curly girls in Colombia than they might do in, in the UAE. So really bridging those gaps. So you'll definitely see more about that. But, staying consistent, growing, and kind of reaching new people is kind of some of our goals.
I can't wait for the Eden Bodywork, international forum.
Eden Goes Global. Yeah.
All the tips and all the advice can be shared and collected.
Absolutely. Yeah. The World Natural Hair Show happens in Atlanta, but it is very much US centric. So I'd love to partner with some of the people we've connected and get them to come, or even maybe start hosting it around the world to really connect and celebrate and tell these stories and techniques and really support each other.
I love that idea. I'm here for that. I'm definitely here for that. All right, my dear. Thank you so much, Jasmine. You're incredible.
My pleasure.